this topic.
Oh yeah.
This is very much you.
And I've been doing more cooking because I love to cook.
Do you? Well, of course you do.
Well, yeah. Hi everybody. We're simulcasting on both Instagram and TikTok today. So I should wait. Hold on. So now the problem is because we're using my phone and the store phone simultaneously to have this conversation with Dawn, the kitchen witch. Usually we use one of the phones to monitor what you guys are saying, but we're running both phones. So now I'm going to just tell Vinny to use his phone. Can you guys watch the TikTok and the Instagram, like one put on TikTok and one put on Instagram, just to monitor comments, and then you could radio me if somebody makes a comment. Somebody has a walkie next to each other.
I love it. I love it so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
It's very high tech.
Yeah.
With the walkies.
You want to know what? We don't have a phone over here.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, so there's so like if somebody calls the store,
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah.
it, but there needs to be a way
Absolutely.
to communicate. So we got walkies because
And
Dawn hasn't
upstairs,
been next door yet. Next door
No.
we have the whole building. We have upstairs. We have rooms everywhere,
No.
so you can't.
Yeah.
In the basement.
We walked past, we were coming up,
And a kitchen.
and whoever the gentleman was with the beard that came in and brought me
Alex,
the water,
yeah.
he was so sweet. He's like, she's waiting for you over there. And so we just kind of bypassed, and I looked in the window, I was like, ooh.
Well, I'll take you over when we're done. That's
Big trouble,
okay.
big trouble.
But anyway, you guys, welcome to an author and creator conversation. My name is Dina. I'm co-owner of the Amityville Apothecary, New York, maybe the America's largest metaphysical shop. I don't know. I think we got some of them Salem bitches beat.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're about the same size, but I would have to say quality.
I'm so excited to have Dawn, who is a native Long Islander.
Long Islander.
Exactly.
Right?
It's going to come out because I'm sitting next to you.
It's totally going to come out.
Oh, for sure, for
It's
sure.
going to come out. And February, this
Just dropped in February.
February
yeah.
25th. Do I have the date right
18.
now? I'm so
18.
close.
Yeah.
A Kitchen Witch's Culinary Oracle Deck is the newest title. And I was really sort of unsure what to expect from this.
Yeah.
You have my favorite food in the whole world in here, by the way.
Which is?
Artichokes.
Right? Right?
Artichokes.
Seriously. So I grew up here on Long Island in a very Italian family, but my mom didn't like artichokes. So we never had them.
Oh my God.
Right? So we never had them. So I didn't start eating artichokes, at least like for reals. Like, I mean, spinach and artichoke dip. That's
real.
different, right?
Not
But
the
like
same.
for real, like a steamed artichoke with like olive oil and butter and whatever. I didn't start having that until, I mean, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And I was like, this shit is
Delicious.
amazing. And now I'm obsessed.
Delicious.
Obsessed.
Yeah. Sometimes aren't you just like in the mood for a stuffed artichoke?
There's an artichoke in my refrigerator right now, so that when we get home,
Make an artichoke.
I'm literally gonna. That's like a date for myself. Is I will like literally make an artichoke. My loving husband says that's too much work, and I say no, it isn't because it's love.
My husband doesn't care for them
Right.
so much either.
You're peeling it. You're eating it with your hands. It's a sensual experience eating an artichoke, isn't it?
It is. I think like when we talk about, so what I really love about this deck and what I really love about what you do is that we talk a lot about magic and craft, right? And we spend a lot of time in the beginning of our journey buying all the tools.
Yep.
So I need a cauldron, I need the crystals, I need the herbs,
Yeah.
I need the wand. What are we doing with it? Nobody's using that unless you're a high magician, let's be real.
For real, for real, for real.
We need an athame.
Yeah.
Still nobody's using that unless you're a high
Correct,
magician.
correct,
Like, you're like, I have this. I'm like, okay.
That's nice. Right, we're using it for ritual. That's nice.
That's right. Right. But like, and I actually had a conversation with an author that came through a couple weeks ago that's a ceremonial magician. And I was like, wow, you're a breed that like, not me.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, and I always say like, and you're going to appreciate this and Angela's going to appreciate this. I always say like, I witch like I cook. Whatever I got goes in the pot at the time that I have it.
Yep.
And so like but in the beginning of the journey, and I had a customer come in this earlier today that was like, so open and like you don't know where to go, what to turn and what to buy, right?
Right.
And where you're buying everything and then like you're getting broke. But then you don't know what to do with everything. And how do you start to incorporate your practice into your life? And really, there's the most magic in the mundane.
Yeah.
In what you're doing all the time. Like, how do you ritualize your life?
Yes.
And cooking and eating is something that, okay, maybe we don't have to cook. Maybe we could DoorDash because somebody's independently wealthy and is DoorDashing and Ubering every meal. God bless you guys, okay?
Yes. No, listen. The beauty of kitchen witchcraft, at least my kind of kitchen witchcraft, is it is something you're doing every single day.
Right, you have to eat.
And the thing is, like when I teach a class, and a lot of what I talk about is you're already doing this, right? Like we are already doing this. I don't give a shit if you are like a millionaire and you're door dashing every single meal, or maybe you're a microwave queen.
But maybe you're putting salt on your food.
Putting salt on your food. The thing is, you stop 3 times a day at least to feed yourself and or others, right? You stop whatever you're doing and you're like, oh, even if I'm just driving somewhere in my car eating a granola bar or drinking a cup of tea, like you nourish your body. So if you do it with intention and visualization and you start to turn on your witchcraft around food, now you are practicing your witchcraft every single day all the time. And then you can still do high magic rituals. You can do esoteric practices.
If that's you, don't get nervous if you're not want to do that.
Correct. You can or you don't have to. Like,
right.
But kitchen witchcraft is accessible. So if you suffer with chronic illness or you are disabled, is accessible. So if you suffer with chronic illness or you are disabled or you are a frazzled entrepreneur with no fucking time.
Right. Well, that's exactly it. Like, who can deal with this?
Everybody can do this all the time, and you already do, right? And then you can touch your practice every single day. You can touch into, because witchcraft is something we are. It's not something we do. It's who we are. It's how we move through the world.
Correct.
So if you're able to incorporate a little bit of that into, for me, it's a morning coffee ritual, right? 5 minutes. I'm going to make this coffee anyway. I'm going to stir this coffee anyway. So if I do it in a certain way with the intention that I want, now I've done my magic for the day. If I don't get to anything else, I've done that. Right?
Everything else is a bonus.
Correct. And I can feel good about that.
Yeah.
You know? And it does help me to stay grounded in whatever that intention is. That's kind of like the purpose of the Oracle deck, was like that touchstone.
Yeah.
Right? Like the touchstone of.
I'll tell you, I was nervous. I was a little bit nervous on this Oracle deck. I was like, what's it going to be? Because, you know, first of all, what's so smart is that there's correspondences.
Of course.
But like,
can you imagine if there wasn't?
But like, so artichoke, what was protection?
Boundaries,
which is really protection.
Boundaries.
Right?
Yes, artichokes are about setting good boundaries and making sure that you stick to them. Artichokes are in the thistle family. So if you were to let an artichoke grow, it would turn into a thistle. When you want to think about the spiny outside of an artichoke and the work it takes to get to the heart of the artichoke. When you protect yourself and you allow people to come into your boundary, they've worked hard for that.
Yeah.
To reveal the heart. So artichokes help you to work with that energy.
Yeah, garlic is protection.
Garlic is protection.
Which makes sense.
Yes.
You know, I was like, oh.
This is how it works.
This is it.
Yes.
No, it makes so much sense. So,
thank you.
You know, I was like, you can read with this. Yeah. Is the point.
Well, yeah, for sure. And it's funny because I was teaching a class. All my books come out of like a class that I was teaching, and somebody was like, "Oh, that would make a fucking great class. That would make a great book, right?" So like this book, the Recipes for Romance, Love and Romance book, I was teaching a class called Recipes for Romance, and it was all about aphrodisiac foods. And people were like, "You should put that shit in a book." And I was like, "Huh."
Well, now it is in a book.
That's a great idea. Same thing with this. I was teaching a class on divination with food, right? So like, if you were having cravings, or you were thinking about food in a certain way, or perhaps there's something like, for me it's tomatoes, right? Like I would call tomatoes I'm going to use air quotes here, my totem food, right? Where there's something I've always loved. I can't remember the first time I had them. They're just synonymous with me, right?
Now, what is tomato?
Tomatoes are about giving and receiving love, and particularly the kind of love where somebody says to you, you look beautiful. And you go, thank you. Instead of, no, I'm not worthy of that compliment.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough for that. It's very much like the receiving of the love that we do not allow ourselves.
Yeah.
And then to be able to give that love back to other people. So I was teaching that class. And again, people were like, this would make a great deck. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking right, it would. And I worked on this project for 10 years.
Woo!
And finally, the publisher picked it up and they were like, yes, we want to do this. And like you said, each card has like the meaning behind it. And I designed it for like, you could do a 1 card pull in the morning, once a week, once a day, or you could do a 3 card spread or a 5 card spread. But the cool part, I'm going to show you, and I don't even know if you missed it. Most people miss it.
I didn't. I saw that you had.
Right. Okay. There's a little tiny QR code.
I missed the QR code.
Okay. Everybody misses the QR code. There's a little QR code in here, and this QR code brings you to a, wait for it, downloadable PDF. And that downloadable PDF has a recipe and or a ritual for every single one of these cards. Where the publisher was like, you don't need to do that. And I was like, overachiever. Yes, I do. So I basically wrote an entire cookbook to go with
this.
Yes.
Okay. That you're getting for the cost
for
of the
free,
deck, which is basically
$24.95.
So for $24.95, you're getting a deck and a
available here at the Amityville Apothecary.
Yes, and if you buy them, we'll have to sign them all.
Yes, I will sign them all. All.
So now here's something.
Dawn will sign them all. My caffeine is kicking in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So here's what's really interesting, right? So my mother and I, who was here, you guys didn't see her, but Dawn
Yes.
Dawn saw her. Poor Dawn moved to New Hampshire, and she's gonna go back home, and they're gonna be like, "Who the hell are you?
Right?
Who's she? Right?
What? What?
It's okay. It's gonna get back to God. Get back to God. Thank you. So my mother and I were, well, every once in a while we'll be hanging, because my mom we live a mile apart, and she's an Italian mother, and I'm obviously, hold on. So she'll be cooking.
Yes.
And she'll be like, you know what I have a woolly for?
A woolly.
A woolly. You know what I have a woolly for?
A woolly.
Not a willy?
A woolly.
Okay.
A woolly.
Woolly,
That
yes.
means that she, hold on, this Instagram is acting.
Instagram, you're being temperamental, and I just fell off my chair. Did everybody see that? Live on TikTok.
Oh, Jenna, aren't you love that?
Did
Hold
everybody
on.
see that?
I'm getting off the Wi-Fi.
Slid right the fuck off.
You guys are all good over there? Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so
Well, your mom and Amy used to say woolly?
Yeah.
my mom will say, yeah, you know what I have a woolly for? I have a woolly for.
That sounds dirty.
It does, but she'll be like, the last time she was like, I have a woolly for linguine and clam sauce.
Linguine and clam sauce.
And then the next day, so of course we're talking about when we were, not the last time I was in Florida visiting grandma, but the time before that, at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
We were eating dinner, and we were talking about what we were going to eat for dinner the next
Yes.
day.
Yes. We do that all the time.
You know you're super Italian
Mhm,
when
mhm.
you're like pre-planning forward.
Literally eating breakfast. Our thing is brunch. Like my hubs and I, we don't. He's over there. You can't see him. But
So we're pointing at
he's
him.
over there. We don't do like date night. We're very old and we've been married a really long time, so we don't do. Tell me I'm wrong. We don't do date night. We do brunch.
Okay,
Right.
that's enough.
We wake up in the morning. He makes fancy coffee.
We love it.
And so he'll make the coffee and I'll make the big brunch. And we will literally be sitting and eating like gorgeous omelets and French toast. And I'm like, what do you want to have for dinner? Do you want meatballs? Do you want... I got some chicken cutlets. Do you want that? Like literally... Oh yeah, we're stuffing our face full of breakfast and we're thinking about dinner.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But what I like about this is now, when she has a woolly, I could look at the deck and say, okay, what does it mean?
Do you want me to tell you what clams mean?
I think it was Aphrodite.
Aphrodite. It's all sexy, romance. It's like, that's your mom being like, I get some.
Yeah.
You know, like that's, you want to touch on your romantic side and romantic love and beauty and all things of
It's so
Aphrodite.
cool.
Yeah. All things of the sea are ruled by Aphrodite.
Right.
So any kind of seafood, like you want to go out for sushi, like that's That's some Aphrodite shit right there.
That's super Aphrodite because you're not even cooking.
I mean, there's that. Well, that's it too. Like, kitchen witchcraft can also work around food that you're not cooking. So I'm a big cook. Mm-hmm. You're Italian. You know cooks. You cook. Like, cooking is a thing, right? I mean, I grew up in the family where food was your religion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we ate everything. There was a meal for anything. Like, whatever you're going through in life, there was a meal for something.
Like something special. And then there was ritualized around holidays too. Like the ritual thing, the ritual
yes.
of
I can
Christmas
remember,
Eve.
Yeah, like being a kid and being like 7 years old, and like the first time I was able to like bake Christmas cookies with my grandma.
Yeah.
And it was, we're taking these fancy cookie cutters, and this is we only use this bowl once a year. The ritual around that, going, oh, okay, this is sacred.
Yeah.
This is sacred work, right? So I think it's important that people realize that kitchen witchcraft can be that in depth. It's also a way of, using ancestral magic, because you're talking about those family recipes. But if you are not someone who's cooking all the time, or you just need to give yourself a break, you can still use something like an oracle deck like this and go, oh, I pulled tomatoes out of the deck, and go, oh, well, I'm going out to dinner later. I'm going to make sure there's tomatoes in my salad so I can work with that energy. Right? Or I'm working a long day at work and I pulled pomegranate. Like you have out here, pomegranate.
I have pomegranates out.
Right.
They're special to me.
Right. So I might go, oh, well, I'm going to have pomegranate juice in a smoothie. Or I'm going to put pomegranate seeds in a yogurt or something. You can work with these things like we were talking about in the very beginning. This is a way where you can touch on your magical craft in an everyday way just by being mindful. And a tool like this helps you with that.
This is literally, like, people come into the shop, I need protection. What's the crystal for that?
Garlic. Garlic is the crystal for that.
But the thing is that this is exactly that, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So, like, we forget, I think because it's so mundane, because we don't think about it because we're hungry, and it goes right down the gullet, right?
Yeah.
That we're not thinking about the fact that we can start pulling in the energies of that, either which we want to attract or we want to protect ourselves or whatever we want to do with the things that we're already touching. We're buying it anyway.
Yes, we're
spending that money anyway.
Right.
And like, I'm thinking about, and I've been like, this has really been like heavily weighing on my mind lately. I'm thinking about like how anxiety ridden we all are lately, right? Every day in the news, it's like bing bong, bing bong. But like, it feels like, for me, it feels like those COVID times again. In the beginning where we didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. Like, every day we really don't know what's going to happen. And so we have to go back to our basics and our roots because we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So we can secure ourselves. Yeah. Back to basics, I think, has been a theme for me in my personal life, in my emotional health, in my mental health journey, for sure. Back to basics is really important. Yeah. I'm like you. I'm a big personality, right? I'm always like, I live in like this space. I'm always going. I'm an entrepreneur. I do this, I do that. I write books. I'm all over the place. And often I'm like really stressed out. I'm a high anxiety person. I'm a high functioning anxiety person. Everybody's like, oh, she's got it all together. And I'm like, I'm a mess. What's your sun's all sign? The time. You can't guess? Well, see, here's the thing, because I feel like your energy is so similar to mine. I have a Leo moon, so like it feels big and Leo-y, like showy. But also I'm a Cap rising, which is like also like, I'm a Scorpio. Get out of here. Oh, what's your rising? I have no idea. I'm not that kind of witch. We have to figure it out. I do. No, I know it. I have it written down somewhere. My friend Christopher did my whole chart for me. I'm like, what? I don't fucking know. I'm a terrible witch. I'm a terrible astrology witch. I know it's a pink full moon tonight. There is in Libra. In Libra. That's I don't know what that means. I mean, I should know what that means. Well, because I'm not gonna pretend. So we're in Aries. So this is not the astrology book, but it's always the opposite sign. Yeah. Right, which doesn't make any sense to me. Well, no, but right, thank you. I don't know either. I don't know. Wait, listen, it's the new moon in the sign, and then the full moon is the opposite sign. Right. I know that. Because of just like of where the planets are in association with where we are in the sun, whatever. So what's really cool about full moon movements is the juxtaposition of opposites, right? So Aries is the I am, and then Libra is the first sign that turns out to the other. I'm a Libra sun. So sun sign. So, it's just really interesting. I don't really know a lot about it.
No, I'm a terrible astrology witch. I know how to work with the moon phases and food.
Which is great.
That's my comfort zone. I would like to explore a little bit more of astrology because I find it fascinating, but it's really complicated. It makes my brain hurt. So I stick to food.
Super math.
It's a lot of
Super
fucking
math.
math. It's a lot of fucking math. So we stick to food. And the seasons. I'm very into the seasonality of food and staying connected to Mother Earth through
because
food,
we don't
right?
want to be like, we don't want to be eating things that aren't in season. Like, you know, when I was in Florida, they had corn on the cob, and we were both like, what the hell?
So weird. But the thing is, our spirits...
Where'd it come from?
Our spirits know that, right? Like that's another branch of what I do for kitchen witchcraft is, and how people can work kitchen witchcraft on a regular basis, that seasonal eating, that staying connected. Like, we as a society are so disconnected from food, from Mother Earth, from what the land where we live is giving us. And I think we saw this a lot during COVID, where everybody went home. Everyone was like, oh, now we're baking bread again. Oh, now we're homesteading and we're canning stuff.
Sourdough thing.
Yeah, and we're canning stuff and we're pickling. And I'm like, hello, the fucking witches have been doing this forever. This is what we do. Like, we preserve things and we make our own stuff and we're growing our own herbs. Like, this is what the witches do. This isn't new, but the fact that people had to move from their busy hustle and bustly lives to get back in the home and re-find that connection to food and cooking and nurturing their bodies, nurturing their spirits, and nurturing other people that they lived with.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, you're in Florida and you're eating corn on the cob and you're like, this doesn't feel right because it's January. Right? We're here on Long Island. Like, if somebody was like, oh, it's the middle of January and I feel like I'd like to eat watermelon, wouldn't you be like, well, why would you? Earth is not giving us watermelon right now. We're not doing that now. Right? Like, your body knows. Your spirit knows.
Yeah.
We don't crave those things unless there is some sort of deeper meaning going on spiritually, where we would crave something that's out of season.
I love the idea too of like using this deck to lean into the meaning behind your cravings. Like I said, my mom had the woolly for the clams, but like why? Like, I'm looking at oranges, and it's so funny because you have here sun energy, the power of light. So when I teach my crystal class, when we talk about the crystal citrine, which comes from the French citron, which is lemon.
Right.
But we talk about how that's absorbing all the energy of the sun. When we use orange in craft, we're using it also a lot of times for prosperity magic because it's absorbing all that solar light. So we're using the peels for that type of magic. What you guys can't see is there's a little wealth thing going on here.
With all oranges.
And there's all oranges.
And let's be clear, you can also use, in kitchen witchcraft, you can use this orange as a symbol of the sun. Right? So this is a round orange sphere, like the sun in the sky, right? And you can use that symbolically, like you would have, coconut for moon.
Yes, I saw that.
And then you would have orange for sun, so you would have that goddess and god energy, female and male energy, that if you wanted to work with it in that way, you could.
One of my favorite salads is like a Boston lettuce, which is leafy green money magic.
Yeah, all leafy greens are money magic.
And then some sections of navel orange.
Correct. So you're bringing light energy to your salad. So that's how it kind of works. It's building blocks.
Do you have basil in here?
Oh, I sure do.
Gotta find basil because there's some basil.
Yeah, basil is also for money, but in a different way. So you have your lettuce, like your leafy greens, and that's like cash. Like you need quick cash, right? And we see a lot of things that are like abundance, prosperity, those same kind of things, but we kind of define it differently, where basil is about the tranquility around having enough, right? How it feels when your bank account is full, right? How it feels to know that you could put money in savings, right? So like, it is still money magic. You're still working with the prosperity magic and the money magic of basil, but it's different, probably. It's hiding on you. It doesn't want to.
Here it is.
It doesn't want to find
money
you.
and tranquility. Yes.
So that's the different kinds of energy. And what I love too is like we threw in a bunch of these cards that are
wooden
like
spoon,
not food, right?
Setting the table,
right? Like so they're like little rituals or
oven.
little tools, right? The oven is like one of my favorites
I
because
love
it's
oven. Mixing bowls,
Yeah.
bringing things together.
yeah.
So
They're
cute.
really really fun, and I find them. I've written a couple of books, right? So we have the romance book.
I don't
and then
have. There's
the
more
beginner's
coming.
guide.
They
Yeah.
were like.
It's the beginner's guide is really really hard to find.
I had a rough week with the shipments,
Yeah.
and I've even been like ordering things, and I don't know if anybody else has been experiencing like, I don't
Yes.
know what's going on with USPS right now, but like I ordered something from New Jersey, and right now it's in California. Why is it taking a tour around America? I don't know.
I don't know.
But then I had another couple of customers be like, "Where's my stuff?" We're tracking it. We're like, taking the tour of America.
Yes. But like this is a tool.
It's a great tool,
Right? Where like it's a cookbook and there's rituals and magic in it, but this is something you could use every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm the feedback that I'm hearing
It's
about
amazing.
it is like I'm so grateful because it was such a project and I worked on it for so long and I was actually able, the publisher let me hire my own artist.
I know that's a big deal. People
It's
don't
a
understand
huge
that's a big deal.
deal, right? Because usually these big publishers are like, we want to do it cheap. So we're going to do AI art or we're going to do, stock images.
Well, a lot of times it's just somebody from some place and they give you like a list and they're like,
Correct.
They're like,
You don't get
which
to
one do
choose
you
what
like
it looks like.
is better or
Correct,
whatever.
correct.
Yeah, I learned that lesson when I was approaching them and I was like, hi, I have this deck half done. And they're like, what do you mean?
Yep.
You have your own artist.
Yep. They let me bring, and her name is Alyssa Pelletier, and she is a wonderful young woman, lives in the Boston area, and
They're
she
very
did
cute.
all this art by hand. So again, I'm like very proud of that. Same thing with this book. Like I was able to hire my own artist and my own photographer for this, and then again be able to like work with other women and empower other women and be like, hey, I have this project. Do you want to do this with me? And it becomes so much more collaborative and joyful.
Yeah.
Because it's not like just being churned out by a factory.
Right, and also like it does speak to the energy of the entire project.
Absolutely.
If we're talking about craft and ritual, everything sort of matters, right?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think so. Like, there are some companies now that are, publishers that are just churning out garbage.
A lot of them.
They're just churning out things. They're finding people online and going, hey, you posted once about kitchen witchcraft. Do you want to write a book about it? And like I feel like for those, like I've been in the game a really long time. I've been teaching on this shit for like 20 years. I've been doing this a really, really long time, and I feel like I have a responsibility to make good stuff and share good information. Because if people are going to dip their toes into kitchen witchcraft and learn about it and make it something that is their own, that they're going to do all the time, they should be getting the information from somebody who knows what they're talking about.
No doubt. This is nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you can't cook, there's even recipes for infused water. So I don't want to hear anything that like I'm not a cooker.
Yeah, no, you don't have to be. You don't have to be a cooker. And all my recipes, like they're really easy because I don't have a lot of time, and I want to make sure that food is good and accessible. When I first started learning about kitchen witchcraft, I was reading everything that I could get my hands on.
Now, why did you start this journey of kitchen witchcraft? Like, what was the thing that like?
I didn't really start. Like, it was who I was. And Justin is probably sick and tired of hearing my origin story, but we were dating. Okay. Remember, we've been together 100 years, and he was literally working at the Barnes & Noble right here in Bayshore.
Okay.
And I stopped there to pick him up after work or bring him a sandwich or something. So this is the year 2000.
Oh, the olden days.
The olden days. The year 2000.
Okay.
And I picked up this book. I was waiting for him to get off work. And I picked up this book. I had been practicing witchcraft for a couple of years, right? I was born and raised in a very, very Italian Catholic family here on Long Island. Mm-hmm. And I started practicing witchcraft like the very beginning of college, right? Found some books, learned, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun, this is pretty cool, just kind of learning my way through what worked for me. And I go to the Barnes & Noble, and I pick up a book, I'm just waiting for him, and I pick up a book called A Kitchen Witch's Cookbook by Patricia Telesco, right? And I'm flipping through this book, and I was like, holy shit, this is me. this is what I do.
It's awesome.
Right? I was like, I had no idea there were words for this love of cooking and using food as your love language and using food for magic, right? I did not realize there were words for that. And so I bought that book, I read it cover to cover, and I'm like super grateful to say that I just interviewed Patricia Telesco on my podcast.
Oh, awesome.
It was like this full circle moment. I'm like, I'm crying, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And she was so lovely. And she just came out with another book. It's like a sequel to that one. It's like the 30-year anniversary of that book. And I was like, oh my God. But that was sort of the impetus for me to go, oh, okay, this is who I am. And then I started reading everything I could read and getting my hands on whatever books I could and kind of building my own practice. And I realized that what I was learning and the things that I was picking up, although they had a lot of good information, the recipes were never things that I was going to make.
That's always important too.
Right. They weren't things that he would eat. They weren't, the ingredients would be hard to find. They were very like complicated recipes. And I was like, the theories here are great for real life, but in practicality, I'm not going to cook any of this shit. And so I started applying those lessons and those theories to the way I cook and the way I eat in general. And I have had to reinvent that over and over and over again because I have tons of food allergies and autoimmune stuff from like celiac disease, and that has created all kinds of other problems. So I think it's really important that people understand that whatever your relationship is to food, you can still practice kitchen witchcraft. This can still be part of your life and part of your practice, and it can deepen your practice and make you more in touch with yourself and more connected to food and heal some of that stuff.
Now, did you grow up like cooking with your family, like on holidays and things like that?
For sure. Yeah. I especially my grandmother, right?
Yeah, same.
Like, especially my grandmother, and like I have vivid memories of going to her house, and she would go out into the yard and she would pick dandelion leaves, and we would have dandelion omelet. Because this is someone who immigrated from Italy when she was a little girl, lived through the Depression, and you used what you had, you know? So she was like, oh, dandelion is delicious and it's really good for you. She lived to be 99, by the way.
So she had it on lock, right?
Yeah, and she was fine. Like, she was like, up until like a few months before she passed away, she was like, good. Like, you know? She drank coffee in the morning, wine at night. She ate really good food. And she kind of like, I don't want to say that she like gave instruction. It was never like, this is how we do this, and let's sit and I'm going to teach you this.
It's like a process and a theory.
It was sort of like, we're going to do this together. You're just going to watch me.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to talk about things, and you're going to, I'm going to show you, what we're making squash blossoms, stuffed squash blossoms. And you would just make them with her. And it wasn't a conversation like, this is how we do it, or this is why we do it.
No, you're just doing it.
You're just doing it. Oh, but you can only do squash blossoms once a year because they're only available for like a week when your squash in the garden is growing, right? So like you understood the specialness of it because you only did it once a year, you know? And then like both my parents worked a lot when I was growing up. And again, I remember being like a little kid and my mom leaving like, okay, here's leftover chicken, here's rice, here's a thing of vegetables, and your dad's gonna be home at 7:00. So you're 8 years old and this is how you make the dinner. Bye, I gotta go. And she would go. And I would make that for my dad for dinner. And I would be like, okay, that's my job. I gotta cook something, you know? So it's always been me cooking for myself and others has been something that I've done my whole life, you know? And to be fair, I love going out to dinner. I love going on vacation when I don't have to cook, but cooking is my happy place. And it is the thing I think that I do that holds the most power, magical power in it. Like if I invite you to my house for meatballs, that's it. That's the epitome. Cause
so meatballs is it.
Yeah, because if you do it right, it should take a long ass time, right? This is not a, you know, big bang boom and it's on the table. Like if you're making meatballs, this is a process.
So my question is though, because there's two schools of thought here.
Yeah.
With meatballs, are you browning them before they go into
Of
the sauce?
course. Of course. Why would that travesty?
Because
who doesn't brown them?
Some people do that.
Do you not brown them?
No, I do brown
Okay,
them.
because I was gonna say we can't be friends.
No.
Oh.
Because then they get mushed, they fall apart.
How do you not? You have to. Who doesn't do that?
A lot of people don't do that. I'm just saying they put them right in the pot.
Okay. No.
No, some people do that.
No. Ew. Then you just have pudding.
Well, then you have meat sauce.
But you brown the meat before you put it in meat sauce anyway.
That is true.
Okay, you don't.
I don't know.
No.
I swear to God.
I'm sorry.
I know these people.
I can see you putting like raw sausage in. Because
I
it's in the
still think it has to be
But
browned.
I think it has to be brown because you want that texture.
Yeah, you can't have it.
Who does that?
There are
I'm
people that do
horrified.
this. There are
I'm
people that do
horrified.
that.
No.
There are people that do this.
Who are you?
I have a really funny.
I'm
meatball.
here right now.
She's gonna fight you. I have a really
I'm gonna
funny.
fight
I have
you.
a really funny meatball story.
Tell me.
So, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Time's like really funny at the moment, so I can't really. I didn't even know what year it was earlier.
Seriously.
So, okay. First, as a preface, like I don't really do drugs, but everyone.
Not really. She doesn't really do
But like
it.
everyone, no, like maybe once every 2 to 3 years type of like cadence. Like I'm not really like a big drug person, and somebody gave
Like drugs.
like even
Like
like
smoking.
marijuana,
Right.
like gummies. Like I'm not like a huge.
Right.
I have like shit to do.
Because she's not over here snorting. Do you know what I mean? She's, yeah.
I've never done any snorties
No.
or any injecties.
No, ew, no.
Ever. But so anyway,
The occasional tablet.
I've never done tablets.
Right, okay.
No, nothing.
Me neither. Like never. No, for real. I've never even smoked weed ever in my life.
I like did some like smoking weed and like alcohol, right? Like a good vodka. But that's like not
That's not drugs.
but it can be as bad. But anyway, listen. So like a couple of years ago, this guy like gave me 2 gummies and I don't know, my husband and I, we like had time and we didn't, it was like a day like today, it was raining. We didn't have anywhere to go. But we didn't know the dosage on the gummy. We didn't know that this was like a quarter gummy or a half gummy. We did the whole gummy.
You just ate the whole gummy.
Whole gummy, each of us.
Okay. We should do that.
Yo, so anyway, this, like, how does this tie into meatballs? Well,
I see where you're going.
we were like really high for like a really long time. And then of course we had to eat something, but we were like melting into the sofa. We were like, we can't even feel our parts properly, you know. So I was like, I got stuff to make meatballs.
So you're high.
So high, like high off my face, trying to make these meatballs. And now, I don't know if you do this, but because I have kids that sometimes are weird about some things in food, I grate my onions into my meatballs because
Okay.
God forbid they get a piece of fucking onion.
You can't have
It's like you insulted me for the rest of my
Yes.
life. I
Yes.
saw a
It's not
vegetable.
like you threw raw meatballs into the sauce.
There's not glass in there. So I'm high. I'm grating onions. I'm like mixing it. So then I'm divorced. I don't have, me and my husband have 4 kids, but we don't have kids together. That's why we get along so well. I got in trouble for saying I was high on TikTok.
Oh.
So it's okay.
She TikTok, she was saying she wasn't.
Okay, I'm not. Just kidding. It's fine.
Just kidding.
So
She was just in a really good mood.
So anyway, I'm under the influence. Can we use PG-13 words? So now here I am making the meatballs, and my kids return home from being with their father, and I'm now like making meatballs, but I wasn't gonna fry them. I was gonna be lazy, and I was gonna put them in the oven, which isn't as good.
Not as good.
But however, like I couldn't be frying in the state that I'm in.
No, you cannot, because then you're gonna get
I was gonna get 3rd-degree burns.
Yes.
So I'm now making the meatballs, and I swear to God, the meat never kept it just like I kept making meatballs and there was meat, and I was like, why is there so much meat? Like, why do I keep making all these meatballs? And now my son's sitting on the other side of the island, like laughing at me, and I'm like, what does he know?
He must know something.
Because he's like, ha, 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 like laughing at me. And he's like, I want to eat those meatballs. And I'm like, finally all the meatballs are, and like I'm looking now at the pan and there's like meatballs, and then at the end there's like gigantic meatballs because I was like, forget it. Just like making gigantic things. But the thing, and I get all the way to the end and I go, holy shit. I didn't put put any seasoning on these meatballs.
It's just meat.
And breadcrumbs.
It's just meat and breadcrumbs.
And grated onions.
And grated onions. So did you put egg? You did put eggs. So yeah, okay. So were they gross or were they delicious?
I don't really even know. I don't know if they were good or not. Howie ate them, but he was under the influence. And my son ate them. I don't even know.
I'm sure they were fine.
I don't even know. There was
the
no
funny part of that
seasoning.
is you not being able to put them together and being like, why is there so much meat? Like, that's
It
hilarious.
kept, like, it literally,
It
like,
kept
when
multiplying.
Like, it's like, this was the never-ending story of grounds and meat.
I don't want to say similar because I was not under any influence except stress. So, you know the story I'm going to tell, right? So, in a little backstory, in 2009, when we were living here, we lost our home in a fire. So which was one of the catalysts that helped us to kind of move from here to New England. But there was like a month from when the fire happened to when we got into like this temporary apartment that we were staying in after the fire. And I have this tradition of every time we move into a new place is I make a big giant vat of chili, right? 3-bean chili is one of our comfort foods. I always make it if we have movers or people helping us move, and I'll make a big batch of that and share it with everyone.
Like, we wanted a tip. We just got this bean chili.
They got this bean chili, right, exactly. So, I was under so much stress, moving into this new place, the circumstances of moving into something, like after going through something like that, right, the circumstances were really...
Moving as stressful as it is.
Correct.
Now it's like times 10.
Correct. And we were like living... Us and our 2 cats and our rabbit were living in one room at my mom's house for like all those weeks while we were trying to find a temporary place to go, live. And it was very, very heartbreaking and complicated. But I was like, I'm gonna make chili in my new kitchen. God damn it! I'm gonna make us a good meal, But I forgot the beans, and I forgot the onions, and I forgot everything. I had like crushed tomatoes and ground beef. And no chili powder.
That's actually a Texas chili.
It was literally, there was nothing in it. It was tomatoes, salt and pepper, and ground beef. And as I'm putting it together and I'm cooking the whole thing, I'm like, this doesn't look right. Why doesn't this look right? And my loving man ate the whole thing. He's like, it's good, babe.
It was excellent meat soup.
It's really good. He's like, it's just meat soup. And I'm like, it's disgusting. Everything sucks. And I was completely sober. There was nothing. It was nothing. But the thing is that the energy that to bring it back to Kitchen Witchcraft, the energy that we put into things really makes a difference.
It does.
It really makes a difference. So I make these, right?
And these are for sale. Let's talk about what they are.
So these are infused olive oils. Yeah, they're super freaking delicious. And I started my company making these olive oils. And the story I'm about to tell you is about that. So at the same period of time in our lives, we were living in this temporary little apartment. It was the same time I was sort of starting my business.
Because why not?
Because why not? It was 2009. There was a recession. Our house burnt down. We were living in a temporary apartment.
Let's do this now.
Seemed like a great time to start a side hustle. And so I was making this. This is our best seller. This is the roasted garlic infused olive oil.
Oh my God.
No, it's fucking outstanding.
I need to have this.
Like everywhere. You need to just
put it on your body.
But you can.
Now, how much are these?
$1 million, but for you, $18.95.
Okay. $18.95.
They're really good, and we infuse them not just with the flavors of all the herbs and spices, but the energies of all the herbs and spices. So everything is done visualization techniques, meditation techniques, and so on.
And this is protective.
Yeah, and then like rosemary is peaceful and healing. So the garlic is the #1 bestseller, right? So we're living in this shitty situation right after the fire and in this new place, right? And Justin comes home from work, and we get into some stupid argument about something, like, it's never about something real.
No,
Like,
it's always about some other thing.
It's something garbage, something, right? I couldn't tell you to this day what it was. And this is the time where I was making this in that little kitchen. And a big batch was like 2 cases, which was 24 bottles. Now I make like 1,000 a week.
Oh my God.
I could do more. 1,000. I could do 1,000 a day, but I did like 600 the other day.
Oh my God. Sure.
Yeah, it's fine. So
MBD.
This is fine. It's nothing. So, literally, I'm making these, right? And we get into the stupid fight, and I'm like, just get the fuck out of the kitchen. I gotta get this taken care of. I have an event tomorrow. I've gotta sell these things. Just get out of here, right? And I continued along what I was doing. And I didn't clear my energy, and I didn't ground myself, and I didn't step away, and I didn't take a breath, and I didn't bring myself back to the spiritual and magical practice of making these products. And we go to this event, which was probably somewhere here on Long Island, and I did not sell a single bottle because people could sense that energy. And we were doing like a tasting, and everyone was like, it's good. And I was like, what is going on? Like, people lose their minds for this. It's liquid gold, right? And nobody bought it. And I went, oh shit.
It's the argument.
Oh,
it was
shit.
argument olive oil.
It was argument olive oil. And I put all that negative energy into that product. And I was like, holy shit. And I literally threw the whole batch away. And never sold them. So what we put in, I'm sorry,
yeah,
keep that there. What we put into our food matters. How we think, how we feel. People will say to me all the time, well, I'm not a good cook, so I can't be a kitchen witch, or I can't do kitchen witch, or I'm not a good cook. I'm like, well, if you think you suck at it, then you do suck at it. And that's the energy that you're going to put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And listen, I know that we're probably running short on time, but when we think about other magic, and we think about, oftentimes we're putting energy out.
Yes.
Okay? We're lighting a candle, we're doing a spell, we're burying something in the yard, we're burning incense, and we send that energy out into the world, right? We hope it hits its mark, we hope that energy comes back to us, we hope we get what we're asking for or repel what we don't want. But when we do kitchen witchcraft, we are literally focusing our energy into food and taking that food into our physical bodies. And feeding it to the people we love. I don't want to feed him shit energy. I don't want to feed him shit food either.
Yeah.
Right? But I want to make sure that the energy that I am putting into the food is also nourishing and healthy and joyful and protective and loving. Right? Because you're physically taking that energy in. And if you guys take nothing else out of what I've said today, take that to heart. Because it makes a difference. The energy that we put into things in this type of magic is what we're going to put in our physical bodies. And there's enough garbage that we're putting in our physical bodies on a regular basis, so keep your mind clear.
Yeah, absolutely, because think about, I'm sure we all have, if we're lucky enough to have home environments and environments where we were raised with somebody like a grandma or mom that cooked for us or something, there's gotta be, or at least for me, there's like these meals that you would want like when you were sick, like, right? Like the
pastina.
So I didn't have pastina. Like, we did have it, but that wasn't like
that wasn't your thing.
No, my grandmother would make stracciatelle soup.
Oh.
Yeah, so like that's what we would have.
Yeah.
So, like egg drop soup with another big one is pasta with peas. Not pasta with peas and eggs and peas.
We did the pasta. She did the pasta and peas, and it was like garlic and olive oil, peas, and usually like ditalini or elbow macaroni.
Or sometimes
and a little
like
Parmesan
cheese.
cheese.
Has to fit in it.
Yeah, it has to be tiny enough that the pea could fit in it.
Go into it.
It's like the best, most delicious
pasta
thing. The most, and it's like peasant food. Do you know what I mean? It's like what they would eat. They didn't have a lot of food. They didn't have a lot of money, so they would peas and pasta and a little olive oil, and
so good.
That's it. Delicious. I
But
could eat that right now.
Right, but like those, again, not complicated food, not high French cooking or high Italian cooking or anything, but it's these foods that you come back to that were made for you with such love. Yeah. And that is magic because it takes you back to this moment. I'm getting emotional, and poor Angela is going to be like, why are you crying? So, I want to get the story out, and then we're going to sign books and sign decks, and you guys can buy all the olive oils. I'm going to buy 82. But
this coffee too.
I am going to have the coffee. So when I went to Florida to see my grandmother, I was called to make a dessert that she taught me to make when I was a little girl.
What was it?
It's not even a real dessert. I call these recipes put-togethers. Because you're really not doing anything, right?
Right, you're not cooking anything.
No, it's
assembling.
So I made 2 of them, and they're from when I was a little girl. I like my earliest memories of being around a Thanksgiving table or any type of table had this dessert, and it's a banana cream pie.
Yes! Oh my god! This is my Uncle Tommy's absolute favorite.
And
Absolute
it's
favorite.
literally graham cracker crust, which back in the day we would make because they didn't have them ready made.
Correct.
So we would make graham cracker crust.
You would get graham crackers.
and smash them.
with butter.
And then you bake it.
Yes.
So you'd make your own graham cracker crust, but we don't have to do that anymore because we can buy them, which
Yes.
I did do because ain't nobody got time for that.
And then vanilla pudding.
Vanilla pudding, but I did the heated vanilla pudding, not
Yes.
the instant ready vanilla pudding because it sets up better when you cook it.
Yes.
And then I don't know if you do this, but then you mix into it homemade whipped cream.
Oh no, we would just do the vanilla pudding.
Okay, so I did the vanilla pudding and then whipped cream, homemade whipped cream mixed into it.
Which everybody thinks is complicated.
It's not complicated.
It's not complicated.
Just
It's
whip
not
it.
complicated.
Just
Whip it good.
don't make a butter. If you want to learn how to make butter, you're on the TikTok, find that Amish lady. The one with the good eye contact. You know who I'm talking about. She has millions of followers.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm making
Yes.
this whipped cream.
Yes.
Just like-
Yes.
I love that girl. Anyway, she'll tell you how to make butter. Go on her channel. And then, so we fold that together.
Yeah.
And of course, I do slices of banana on the bottom.
Yes.
Put the mixture in on top. And then I put more whipped cream on top.
Mhm.
And then more banana slices on the
Yes.
top.
Yes.
But this time, I did something different. And I added pieces of chopped banana into the pudding mixture too.
Mm.
And then you just set it up in the fridge.
Oh.
And my grandmother must have not had that in years and years. And you could see her go back in time when she was eating it.
Wow.
Like you could see her go back in
Wow.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's, sometimes when we get older, we don't talk about is that we lose our taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
Our taste buds change.
Absolutely.
And the sweet one remains for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're 90, eat as much candy as you want.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Just eat the candy.
Yes.
So she doesn't really eat a lot of her dinner foods and her proper foods because she doesn't have the taste buds for it anymore. But she ate that banana cream pie, let me tell you.
I'll tell you, the ancestral ties to food and the memories that are associated with them and the way that I talk a lot about it in my classes and say, like, if you want to know a people, learn what they eat.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to know your heritage, learn what was available to your ancestors and eat that. Work with those ingredients, right? And for those of us that maybe have a hard time with our families of origin, as I do, working with food to connect with ancestry has been incredibly healing. To go back through time and say, these are the foods that were available to my great-great-grandparents. These are the things that my ancestors were eating, were working with, growing, and why, right? This is what was available in their part of Italy, right? And kind of like hop over some of the bad relationships and go, but I can still be connected to my ancestry. Like, when I was in my 20s, I was like, I don't fucking care if I'm Italian, whatever, they're a bunch of assholes, And then as I grew as a person, as a witch, as a wife, as a entrepreneur, I really started getting so much more connected with the Italian side of myself and my heritage. And I would encourage anybody to find those pieces of connectivity. And remember that there are these things that are in your family, whether it's banana pudding or, my great-grandparents used to make ravioli, right? Ravioli from scratch, which unfortunately I never learned. I never learned to do that. But that's what they did, right? And I can learn so much about them because of how they did that and why they did that, right? And that is just incredible to me that there are these things that now, my business is food and kitchen witchcraft. I make my living with
doing those things,
which
and
working
so
with those
amazing.
Traditions. It's so rewarding,
I see a comment, but I don't have that kind of vision. Oh, Vinny, welcome to the kitchen. He just did this. Hi, thank you, Vinny. I thought you were a person because of comments. So we have right now at this moment we're getting more, but USPS being how they are. We have the new from just about a month and a half now.
it's brand new.
Brand new. A kitchen which is culinary oracle deck. Gain daily insight and bring magic to your meals with everyday ingredients. And this one's $24.95. So if you'd like to purchase one, you could slide into our DMs and we will have Dawn sign a copy for you. We also have the Kitchen Witches Guide to Recipes for Love and Romance.
This book is really fun.
It's really beautiful and there's gorgeous photos.
Yeah.
And like it's
a little misleading because it's like love and romance, but it's 3 sections. The first section is about loving yourself. The second section is about loving others, and the third section is about passion, which most people think passion is about like, woohoo, yeah, get frisky. Which there's a little bit of that, don't get me wrong. If there's some stuff here you want to do with your partner, like
you do it. You
stuff,
do you.
do it. Well, you do each other is kind of how it works. But
True.
But there's also a section about you do you in here as well, so be warned. That exists because
Okay.
it's important.
It is important.
It's important. But
So pretty.
we do all of that kitchen witchcraft through aphrodisiac foods, right? So learning to love yourself in a certain way and loving others with friendship. And then also like the passion part of it can also be about maybe you used to love to paint or maybe you used to love to sing and that was your passion. And how do we get that back? How do we rekindle our passion for life? And that's all done through the lens of kitchen witchcraft and aphrodisiac foods. So this book is really cool. It's a little older. She came out during the pandemic, so she didn't get the love she deserved.
Yeah.
Because it was the pandemic days, so I didn't get to do stuff like this
Yeah.
for it.
This one is $24.99.
Well. Yeah. There's some sexy shit in here, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
If
no.
you're into that kind of thing, yeah. If you buy this book, you're going to learn a lot more about me than you want to.
Ooh, this cake is beautiful.
The red rose velvet cake.
Look
yeah,
at that.
it's crazy.
Beautiful.
That's probably what did that take me like 10 tries to get that recipe correct.
Wow.
And I did all the food styling for this because it was COVID.
So you had to do it yourself.
And I had to do it
Yeah.
myself. I had
Yeah.
a photographer, but I did all the food styling.
Beautiful.
This cake.
This cinnamon crumb pound cake
It's
looks
stupid.
insane.
No, it's stupid because you make it in like a sheet pan, you make it this in a lasagna pan.
Well, it says makes 24 servings.
Right.
I was like, okay, girl.
You make it in a lasagna
Okay.
pan. Like if you got a big family or an office party, I'm just saying. That's really sorry.
Like that, you could tell you're Italian. Where I was like, makes 24 servings.
Yes.
Who we having over?
Yeah. Just make it for a party. Oh, maybe I'll make that for Beltane.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yes. Good one for Beltane.
So these are available. We also have Dawn's products here. So just quickly tell us about what you have because they can slide into our DMs if they want to buy those.
Yeah,
And then we can send them out.
so we have a beautiful infused olive oil. So these are really meant for cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're all different flavors. We have a roasted garlic for protective energy, tomato basil for money and love energy, rosemary, which is my personal favorite for peace and healing, lemon that is for cleansing and purification, and hot pepper,
Okay.
which is smoky sweet for passion and energy. And these can be used for cooking, roasting, pan frying, sauteing. They are really friggin' spectacular. They're like crack. So if you try them once, you are literally gonna get addicted. And I'm not sorry. I hope I can say crack.
Well,
I don't know. We'll find
Whatever.
out. But they're really, 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 really good. And this is what like started the company for sure. Then I have Grandma's Recipe Marinara Sauce, which we all make our own sauce, but like always have a jar of something.
no, you have to have a
You have to
jar.
have a jar
just in
of
case you have to like
What
make
if
an
I make a
emergency.
pizza?
Or you have an emergency meal.
Correct. So you some ground turkey and just throw this in there and you're done, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is I make a grilled cheese. I have a grilled cheese obsession. It's a problem. So I make a grilled cheese with the
Oh my
garlic
God.
oil instead of butter. You use a garlic oil and use mozzarella or provolone
Oh my
for the
God.
cheese, and then you dunk it in this. It's
Oh,
it's
sick.
okay.
Let's go.
It's so good. It's so good. And then I also have some coffee because I'm a snob about coffee. So we have a full moon coffee. And the
Okay.
coffees are the full moon and the dark moon coffee, and they're aligned to the phases of the moon energetically, and also flavor profiles. So this one is like light and bright and energetic, and then the dark moon is like broody and sensual and really delicious. And we have whole bean or ground, and then we have our seasonal spring brew,
Okay.
which is ground medium roast with lavender and blueberry. This
Okay.
is limited edition. I only make it for the spring, and then in the summer I make a different one, and so on. So this one is really great. And I do have some risotto and some dip mixes as well. And they're like, those are packets that are, the risotto is rice and vegetables. We have a garlic, garden vegetable, a hardy mushroom, and a lemon asparagus, which is the seasonal. And we have a customer coming into the store.
Come in.
Come on in.
Hi, Vanessa.
I just pulled a video. Like, can I go in?
Just
Yeah,
sit.
come in.
Come in, Vanessa.
Come in. And so that's it. That's what I've got. That's what I got here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you can get that stuff here if they slide into the DMs.
Yeah, slide into the DMs or what's your website?
My website is cucinaaurora.com. My business is Cucina Aurora Kitchen Witchery. I am Cucina Aurora Kitch Witch on TikTok and Cucina Aurora on Instagram. I am not as great as she is, but I'm working on it. So trying. Yeah.
Well,
So,
you already have a full-time job.
I certainly do.
So
I
it's
certainly
sort of a
do.
full-time job.
So
Thank you guys for joining us virtually, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you so much. I'm going to be saving little snippets. So for TikTok, I'm going to save a snippet of this live and tagged on Instagram. The whole thing will be saved and what is it called? A collaborator.
Oh,
so
yes.
you could get it on both. And thank you so much. And we will see you guys soon. Bye.
bye. Thank you.
Okay.